we have a potentially major winter storm about to unfold across a lot of areas this weekend, across areas of the central and southern US. And we've seen a lot of changes with model guidance that we need to go over desperately. So, if you don't already know who I am, my name is Charlie. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Wednesday. As of right now that I'm speaking, it is 7:36 a.m., bright and early, and I'm going to get this video out there. Probably make another video this evening because things are changing and we need to go over them. So we have a lot of graphics to show you. Last night's video was 50 minutes long, not looking to do that again. So let's get this video concise. And there's a lot of noise on social media about what's it this, northward trend here, southern trend there, more ice here. Cut through that. This video, I'm going to show you all of the latest from these models and you can decide for yourself what you think. I'll inject my thoughts when I feel necessary. And yeah, so we're going to get right into it here. Like this video if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you have not already. Please leave a comment below where you're watching from, what you'd like to see, if you have any thoughts on this event, etc. So we're going to get right into it. So we're going to start this off a little bit differently than we have been. We're going to start this off with some ensemble guidance to lay a foundation, okay? Because there's a lot of changes ongoing that we will see in our more operational guidance. But let's look at some ensembles, get a general idea of, is this event still even here? So this is the latest run of the Euro ensemble that I have access to. So we're going to run it out here. This is starting Friday morning. And I'm not going to zoom in, just a general idea. So we get into Friday afternoon, right? Like 6 p.m. Central Time, for example. And it's snowing pretty heavy in Kansas. Notice how much further north the freezing line between snow and the sleet or freezing rain is. It's near Oklahoma City now. So this is the Euro Ensemble, pretty reliable, but it's not, the Euro Ensemble was not designed to have a product like this made for it. So this might not be exact, but just, I would take this as you treat any other model guidance, okay? So snow breaking out across the central plains, all the way over into Missouri, as far west as Colorado in areas. And then down to Oklahoma City-ish, near Lubbock, Texas is this far southern extent, and then northern Arkansas, okay? I'm not going to go over as many areas because it's not necessary, especially with changes ongoing. So let's just take this out to Saturday morning. This is about 6 a.m. The sun is not up yet. Area of heavy snow from the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles all the way back through near Memphis, Tennessee, although you're mixing in Memphis on this run. And so a lot of Tennessee is rain. Most of Kentucky is rain, most of Tennessee and Kentucky are snow, not rain. But it's lighter snow with southern or northern extent. And a lot of mix. On this site, freezing rain is what shows up in this paint, not sleet. So a lot of freezing rain here, and especially northern and northwestern Texas, all the way through a lot of Arkansas, from the southern, like 3/4 of it, through some of Louisiana. However, note, please, this area here, this like shield, if you remember from yesterday, it was like this kind of, maybe not that far south. You get the idea. Take north. So we have time to trend this either direction, and we might do that. I don't know. But snow's starting to break out across areas of the eastern seaboard states as well, Virginia, West Virginia, and the Carolinas. So let's move this out into this Saturday evening. So this is it right here, Saturday evening, about 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Areas of heavy snow in Arkansas and, Missouri. Arkansas, Missouri, the northern and southern half of those respectively, and then through the southern halves or so. Big change of Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. You guys are now in the heavier snowing areas. Like Cincinnati, Ohio is in the heaviest of snow based off of this run. So changes, ticks north for sure. And then our freezing line is way up here. So say most of Tennessee switches to a nasty ice storm after getting some snow. North Carolina kind of gets left with just a lot of ice. And it reaches all the way to the Atlantic, all the way back to still like Oklahoma City with this heaviest snow. Very expansive. And then this freezing rain goes all the way from the coast and then up through Tennessee, back down through southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, kind of that still favored region, and then back down through Dallas, although it gets lighter, all the way to the U.S. Mexico border down here. So this, as I said, this is Saturday evening at about 7 p.m. So let's move this on into 7 a.m., 12 more hours later. And what we end up seeing is a very aggressive cold air damming. So it's warm in areas around here. For example, this is the year ensemble, guys. So this is an average of 51 different members. I'll show this to you just very briefly. See how it does like this, and you see rain up in areas of Tennessee now. This was limited to the northern border of Alabama in yesterday's runs, and now it is ticked to where it's the southern border, northern border of Tennessee, southern border of Kentucky. Big trend north. However, in areas of the Carolinas, for example, we still have more than enough when it comes to cold air damming, so we still get this nasty freezing rain that's ongoing for hours. And Sunday morning, expansive snows started to move up into areas of the New England area, interior northeast, all the way up through near Maine. And so, based off of this run, we have heavy snow in New York, Pittsburgh, up near Toronto. So, again, Cincinnati's still in heavier snow, so a lot of snow could fall here, but we're seeing a lot more rain down south. You may be asking me, and you may be looking at me, and you may be mad at me, and you might be like, Charlie, are we running into warm air issues like we were with the last one? And to that I say, I don't know. As a fact, yes, we are, because you see more rain on your screen. Is this going to be a long-term trend, or are we just going to get rid of it in this is the 0Z. When the 12Z comes out, are we going to see that still? I think similar to this. It might not go further north, but I think it will look similar if I had to guess. And so do not think for a second this storm is gone. I mean, look, you can see it right here. I'll go ahead and click back on it. You can see it. I mean, it's very much here, but it's starting to leave areas of the south alone with so much ice. Although there are areas and kind of like Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, North Carolina, where you're starting to get more ice as opposed to just snow. So that you guys don't want that. So that's all I'm going to show you off the Euro Ensemble. There's a foundation. AI Ensemble, very quickly. Now I think on this run, yeah, it's just mix or wet snow in this brown color. It's not specifically sleet or freezing rain. It doesn't really matter either way. Here we go. A more expansive system, really. This is getting into Friday afternoon, so it's a little bit slower maybe, but we have areas of snow all the way from South Dakota down through the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma, and a lot of the same areas when it comes to where the mixing line is. So there's some agreement there, but it's further south on the AI Ensemble. So just a little bit, as in most of Oklahoma still gets their snow. I mean, you can see this rain, sleet, and snow line. Really, just the sleet and freezing rain, sleet/freezing rain, and then snow. That line is still kind of along the Red River on this run, and this is the most recent run we have. So we still have hope here for this being further south. Snowing heavy down in Lubbock, for example. Dallas is right on the line, but you might switch to some heavy wet snow after. And then we still kind of have Tennessee, the southern border, as the far southern extent of snow, except for a little bit of a warm nose. But we still have this mixing and this cold air damming. The setup still looks primed for freezing rain over here from Charlotte to Atlanta. You can see those in the Carolinas and Georgia, those two cities. Between there, it doesn't look good, guys. It still doesn't. And then we move this. This is now Sunday afternoon, just after lunchtime. Heavy snow in a lot of the same areas. So it's starting to push this line of snow further north. But it moves it north later. So it's kind of a difference than the operational Euro Ensemble. But it's not exactly what the Euro is showing. We'll show you the Euro in a minute. And finish this as some light snow. This would be Monday morning, actually. So Moves on out. Then we can look at a very responsible thing to look at. This is the national blend of models, the blend of all models. So I don't know much about this model in that what it contains. I don't really know, but it honestly doesn't really matter. So we're going to start this off Friday morning, and we go in 6-hour increments here. So it's a little bit more blocky looking. So let's look at our key. So we have obviously rain and snow are their respective colors, and then pink is freezing rain, purple is sleet. So don't look at these words as slight possible likely. Technically, that's what this means, but just look at the colors. That's all I want you to look at. So we get, I mean, it's a little bit faster. We get into 6 a.m. Saturday, 6 a.m. Friday. I got to get my days right here, guys. And then we have snow starting to break out in a lot of areas, all the way over to the Virginias already, and back down near Albuquerque, New Mexico, the panhandles of Texas and Louisiana. I was going to say Texas and Louisiana, Texas and Oklahoma, kind of with some wintry mix, heavier snow mixed in with some freezing rain and sleet. And we move this on here, and the heaviest axis of snow is over Oklahoma and southern Kansas. It begins to grow. I mean, look at all this freezing rain, and it's in the likely shade here. Don't pay too much attention to that. Just look at the colors as if it was other model guidance. This is Saturday morning, and we have heavy snow from Albuquerque to Nashville, all the way up to far northern areas of Kansas, down through Lubbock. Dallas is mixing. Memphis, Tennessee, heavy rain, heavy snow. Sorry, I've got to get my words right, guys, because I'm gonna take some people off here. So let's see. We move this on in time. Let's move this out to Sunday morning. So this event is still very much ongoing. It's a blend of all models. This is not just it's one run, but it combines so much. A lot of snow. See how much snow there is, guys. It's still snowing back here in New Mexico. Still snowing in Texas and Oklahoma. Still snowing in Arkansas and Missouri and Kansas, Iowa. It's snowing more heavily in areas of Kentucky and Tennessee, as well as the eastern seaboard states, all the way up near New York. So then we have our freezing rain areas here. Highlighted area 1 and highlighted area 2. I think our model guidance actually kind of nailed this because we're actually having a divide here where there's just normal rain falling because of a warm nose. You can very much see this aggressive cold air damming. The high pressure pushing cold air down against the Appalachian Mountains, and so we get this freezing rain as opposed to normal rain or just snow. So move this on. I'm going to click on the map here, and then it moves on out. This is getting into Monday morning, and we still have freezing rain and snow falling, but it's mostly gone. There's our foundation, right? We are 10 to 12 minutes deep in this video. Not too bad. So we're going to look at the operational Euro and then other model guidance as well. So I'm going to go ahead and switch these. I forgot to do this beforehand, so it's not too big of a deal. To the South Central US first, then we'll move east. So starting off Friday morning per usual. And what we get, let's just get this out to its main time frame where it's really getting going. Right here. So just after midnight, this is midnight on Saturday. So midnight into the early morning hours on Saturday. And we have a lot of freezing rain breaking out across areas of Texas and Oklahoma, Arkansas, the deep south states such as Alabama and Mississippi. Memphis is mixing in Tennessee, and then over to Albuquerque, there's wintry mix, mainly snow at this time. Then snow making its way all the way north into, looks like South Dakota will be getting some here. But it's just generally the Central Plains getting a lot of snow here. Not going to name too many areas. So we move this on in time to right here. This is lunchtime Saturday, and this event has evolved a lot already. Freezing rain all the way into near Knoxville, Tennessee, and then all the way back down to Roswell, New Mexico, Odessa, Texas, and then like Lubbock, Abilene, Wichita Falls, and Dallas, like the main cities here, freezing rain. Oklahoma City, you stay snow for a while. You might start off actually as a little bit of a mix, but good bit of snow. Northern half of Kentucky, I've got to get these states right, guys. Northern half of Oklahoma getting their fair share of snow. But it's notice how it's trended to the northern like quarter or so of Arkansas getting snow on this run, as opposed to the northern half. Little Rock points north was what we were looking at. It's now like Fort Smith points north, and then Memphis, Tennessee points. Well, it's really not. Memphis, Tennessee is right in the middle of this dang mix. So let's move on. I just changed runs. So here we go. So this is 6 p.m. Saturday. So you're eating dinner at this time. Widespread freezing rain across areas of the deep south from Texas over to the Carolinas, through the lower Ohio Valley, Cumberland Plateau getting a lot freezing rain here. Then we have snow in areas more heavy from the central plains up through the Midwest all the way over to the coast. I mean, it's very expansive. We'll move it east in a second, which is going to be right now. And then we start this off here, and looking at the southeast, we see a lot of rain, and you see how this rain is making it into Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's not what we want to see as winter weather fans. And so freezing rain in the upstate South Carolina region, really the Carolinas in general, are just a lot of freezing rain. Very aggressive warm nose, and I mean very aggressive, guys. I mean, this is Sunday morning, and look at this is just normal rain all the way up into Kentucky. So this is where cold air damming really makes itself known, because the temperatures in this warm nose over Birmingham, Chattanooga, Knoxville, Johnson City, Tennessee. That's it's not necessarily like 50 degrees or anything like that, but it's above freezing, and here it's well below freezing, because that's how cold air damming works. Very weird process, very complicated, but still a lot of freezing rain being modeled here. But we switched to rain in my neck of the woods after this is over. I don't know the surface temperatures at this time. I don't know if this would probably freeze because there's so much ice, but it might take a minute. So we end as rain. This is the first run since this event has started to show up on model guidance. This is the first run to do it, and it's of course the Euro. So, uh, since this is the Euro and I trust it the most, we will briefly look at the Northeast. So moves in here. Let's get our time frame in frame here. So this is Virginia points north that you're looking at here. So heavy snow starting to make its way into areas of the Midwest, interior Northeast, all the way up into the Northeast, New England. And Washington, D.C. is near the line. Might mix at the end. Heavy snow, though. Let's see. New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland is mostly good for snow, although you start to mix in Maryland, guys. Very, very aggressive tick north with some of these runs here. And then over the Great Lakes could be some lake enhanced stuff here. Low pops off over the ocean, and Atlantic Canada gets a lot as the low pressure drops. That's 960 something. All right, move on. Euro AI. Okay, not going to zoom in here. Very similar, right? This purple on this is sleet or ice. Freezing rain would probably be in this more orange color on this run. Don't pay that close of attention yet. Let's get our time frame so I can look at it. Let's see. This is Saturday morning. We have snow rate, although it's faster. Notice the axis of this snow is over areas of Arkansas and Missouri as opposed to Kansas and Oklahoma. It's a little bit faster, but we move this ahead in time here. Let's get out here. This is 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Saturday. So we see it's a little bit narrower of a band of snow here. It doesn't go as far north. But even that being the case, it's still hitting areas of Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. Like, that's kind of crazy to me. Albuquerque, it's snowing. At least it looks like it, except for your snow hole that you have out here. And then Lubbock, Texas, Stillwater, Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, snow still. Northern, like, fifth of Arkansas getting snow. Tennessee is all mix. Kentucky is all snow. And we move this on, gets more aggressive with the mixing in, say, Kentucky, a lot of mixing in the Carolinas and Georgia. And then we see, again, kind of a very aggressive warm nose. It's not quite as aggressive, but it's still very much there, with a low cutting across. And, We get this snow further north up into the Great Lakes region. We see a lot of freezing rain and sleet down here across areas of the deep south, Carolinas, yeah, and then getting into the far east, central, and southern plains. So very aggressive takes north of model guidance. What about the GFS and its AI? So let's look. So GFS still kind of throws us a bone with the southern type system here, where it's more suppressive with this cold air, and in response, everything's just still further to the south. This is kind of a mess though. So I'll look at this frame here. This is Saturday morning at 6 a.m. before the sun is up, and a band of heavy snow from Oklahoma over to Raleigh, North Carolina. And it doesn't go very far north or south. It's very narrow but heavy. And then the GFS, this purple color you see over, like, say, Dallas, is sleet. The GFS keeps overdoing sleet, but it does have the right idea in that there will be sleet. This environment will support sleet. So, I mean, sleet is just these little, like, ice balls, kind of like tiny hail almost, and they accumulate like snow, but they don't stick to, like, power lines nearly as well as freezing rain does. So you'd rather have sleet than freezing rain, and you'd rather have snow than sleet. It's like a little ladder you have. But freezing rain across central Texas up into my neck of the woods here in upstate South Carolina, but really like northern Georgia, Alabama points south. So let's move this on and get this into. This is 7 p.m. Saturday. This event is well underway across areas further to the east. A lot of mixing going on in areas of the Carolinas and Georgia. Another area of mixing going on here, areas of the deep south, such as Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, getting up into Tennessee. Again, we're starting to get Tennessee into this mixing because we're trending north. And then our snow is a lot more suppressed. There's not nearly as much snow up, like, say, up in here, because we've been seeing that on our other model guidance. I kind of buy that scenario, but hey, GFS may be onto something. I don't know. It's hard to tell. And then we move this on. This is the early morning hours, Sunday, 6 to 8 a.m., and still freezing rain, sleet. And we finished as sleet in the Carolinas here. Northwest low snow maybe getting going here in the southern Appalachians, central Appalachians. A lot of snow moving into the northeast. Moves on out. AIGFS is very weird with timing. Let's start this off. Let's get this into. All right, so this is Friday morning. Gonna go over this quicker. Doesn't really get going until the overnight hours on Saturday, as opposed to Friday. So I don't know about that. And then it is gone, for example, a little bit quicker, but a lot of the same. I think on this, yeah, its potential mix shows up in this purple shade. So this could be sleet or freezing rain, but still a large area of it. But the snow is just so much further north. It's like Kentucky points north, and we have snow in Arkansas, but it's really just the northern areas, except for right at the end. Moves off New York, you get a nice snowstorm out of this, and who knows what happens after. So we're going to look at some snowfall totals here. This is the Euro, the latest one that we've got. And do not think for a second that we're dropping snow totals. We absolutely still have them. That does indeed say 15 inches in northern Arkansas, even though I didn't click on the right spot. It's there. It says it right there. So regardless of the actual totals, doesn't matter. Just note how far north this thing has trended, guys. It's very aggressive for such a short time period. Our current heaviest stuff is in here. It was, the circle's gonna kind of overlap. It was right here. So notice areas further to the west have not trended north a whole lot, except for the Red River. You're kind of getting left behind here, areas along the Red River. But areas in North Carolina and Tennessee that were getting like inches, possibly even feet of snow on some models, are dropping it. So this is operational Euro. This is bound to change, and it will. It already has. I mean, this is a big change, obviously. But our heaviest snow is from Oklahoma City up through, I don't know. Let's see, the Kentucky border, Louisville, Kentucky, Springfield, Missouri. Kind of. Oh, I don't know what's going on with the zoom. Let's see. Go over here, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania gets heavy snow here, and but areas like Southern Virginia get left behind. but you don't get left behind for winter weather. You get left behind for a lot of ice instead. You don't want that. You are begging this to trend further south if you live in, say, regions like this. Areas further south than that, such as in here, that area has not really changed a whole lot. I'm begging this to shift north in reality. I would love to get snow, and I'm going to be completely honest and real with you guys. Ice and a crippling ice storm is not what I want. It isn't. But the weather here has been really boring over the past several months. It typically is. It's not anything new. And I would enjoy something to like keep track of that could affect me in some way or another. So seeing this tick north so aggressively is a real bummer. And there's going to be a lot of people that hate my guts because these last few videos have been titled, the storm could be catastrophic. It could be, whatever, devastating, whatever I used. That has not changed. But if people are in these two circles and you're getting left behind, you think it ain't devastating for me. It ain't catastrophic for me. So you lied to me. That's the mindset some people genuinely have. And I don't hope that this trends back south and hurts more people so that my reputation as a YouTube meteorologist would be saved. I don't want that. In reality, I want this thing to downtrend significantly. That's what my moral brain wants to happen because crippling ice is good for nobody. And snow like this is great, but this can still cripple people. It says 17 inches. That's a lot of snow. Most areas can handle it, but depending on your infrastructure, you might not. So that's the Euro. Enough yapping about that. Euro AI, pretty similar, except further south. Euro AI is still holding on to the chances that, say, Arkansas gets more snow as a whole, especially the northern half. Let's say like Conway, and yeah, points north. So you still have that. On this run, like Tennessee is kind of a dividing line. It's kind of the border between getting a lot of snow in areas and then getting a lot of ice in areas. And you can see this warm nose making itself apparent here, right up in here. And then you can see our cold air damming, kind of opposing forces here, digging down here. But it's too warm in a sense, so we still end up getting a lot of freezing rain. But generally, a lot of the same totals here. A lot of some agreement down here. Areas of Texas getting still a lot. Dallas, for example, where are you guys? Yeah, Dallas getting kind of right on the line. I think you're going to have mixing issues in Dallas, to be completely honest with you. If you live there, as of right now, I think you're going to have mixing issues. GFS, well, the GFS has, you might look at this and think, oh, wow, it's keeping everything south. I love the GFS. Well, it is. I mean, for example, Tennessee is in a lot of snow, and North Carolina is getting a lot of snow in areas, and then areas further south, the northern 2/3 of Arkansas getting snow. But let me compare this. Comparison, all right. Comparing these models will be the thief of your joy. So feel free to skip ahead 30 seconds to a minute because I'm going to show you what we were looking at and show you how this really genuinely has shifted north. So, cover your eyes. Here's what we were looking at, guys. I mean, this is not the most aggressive shift north as the Euro is. Let me go back 2 more. So look at some of this. Central Arkansas is getting the heaviest snow. Let me show you that. It's going to probably turn white in between to this. I mean, there's some overlapping, but it's minimal. The GFS is absolutely shifting north. It's not even a question. It's not as aggressive. Like areas of North Carolina still get some snow, and even areas of South Carolina get some snow, but there's mixing involved. But in general, it's very much shifted north. What about the Euro ensemble? So this is the latest Euro ensemble that we have. Very reliable thing to look at. And again, comparison's the thief of joy here. Looking at older model guidance will hurt a little bit. So hold on a second. Is this the latest that I have? 0Z Tuesday the 20th. Huh, okay. This is not updated information. Let me see if I can fix that because I want to give y'all something updated here. Let's see. This is 0Z. Yeah, this is Wednesdays. I don't know what's going on with that site. Let's see if we can find it. We go here and precipitation. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So let's pull this out to the end here. Get rid of this and get rid of this. Here we go. So areas you see purple or darker purple are 6 inches or more. The Euro ensemble, while it has ticked north out of like these areas, some areas further to the west, like in this circle, have not changed a whole lot. The Red River kind of starting to be left behind here. It's very much an observable trend. Sorry that that site was not working. Let's see if we can go back and find it. Yeah, I don't know why that would be. That's interesting. So, yeah, that's all I have for Snowfall as of right now. We might go into that more in this evening's video. So this is the Canadian from overnight, and again, this is the only ice graphic I have access to. So, sorry, I got to stretch here. So, let's see here. This is freezing rain totals. Cut these by, I'd say 30%, because this is accounting for any possible liquid water falling as freezing rain, and it does not count at all on evaporation, among other things. So be careful looking at these. I don't really believe it's possible for this event. That genuinely just said 4.3 inches of freezing rain. Freezing rain falls as normal rain. Looks like normal rain, but it is super cooled. There's a lot of processes in the atmosphere that cause this. Essentially, it falls through mid levels, so 2 to 4 miles that are warmer, and then it falls through cooler levels, 1 to 2 miles above your head, that super cool the water but don't freeze it, and then the surface is cold, so it falls, hits power lines, tree branches, accumulates. So, for example, and this is a really egregious scenario here, but that says 4.3 inches. That is not a power line, does not have 4.3 inches. It's not 4.3 inches in diameter. It's now 8.6. It's like this big, like as big as my head. So half an inch of freezing rain between two poles, two average power line poles, is about 500 pounds. So an inch would be 1,000, and you can do the math afterwards. So this is, let's see, that's 3,200 pounds, 3,300 pounds. That's not going to happen. It won't. That's a lot. That's why freezing rain is so deadly and so detrimental to some areas and devastating for others. So if you compare this to what we've seen, we have definitely shifted this thing north. This area is still showing up on the Canadian, and I don't know if we're going to get it quite like that. But see our cold air damming? It really is targeting Columbia points north. Yesterday's run that we looked at kind of looked like this. So definitely shifted north. But we're not getting rid of ice just because this thing is shifting north. We're just shifting the ice north too. And yeah, so just a lot of ice in a lot of these regions. I think we're going to have a corridor here in the Arklatex, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, where we get a lot. I think we're going to have, because of cold air damming, this might overperform over here. And then the area in the middle, for example, is a big question because we're not sure about this warm nose. And if the warm nose happens, it'd be right over this area, and you wouldn't get nearly as much freezing rain. You'd probably not get any. So enough of that. Freezing rain is the main bad part of this event, the part you don't want. So who knows? We'll get another graphic in several hours. Not enough time to make this video, and then we'll get that out in this evening's video. So we'll go over it and see what it shows. This is still the Canadian. If you were to look at the Euro, it would look different. I wish I could, and I'm still trying to find it. So hopefully I get that. And then last few things we're going to look at are temperatures and why this event has moved a little bit. So this is temperatures at the surface. You can see on your map here where it changes from greens to blues along this line here is the freezing line. That's where 32 degrees Fahrenheit is at the surface. So this is starting off Friday afternoon or Friday morning. So we're going to move this out here. Click, and then we're going to move this out. So this is Saturday morning. Freezing line has dropped much further south. So areas of, let's just go over some of this. We saw on our model guidance where the majority of this is. I'll circle it. Uh, a lot of our precipitation is falling within that circle in general. Most of it is freezing. Some areas aren't, but it's also mainly based in this area right now. It's not moved east as much yet. And click back on, and then here we go. So let's get into this. Is getting into the evening on Saturday. So we can see our cold air damming very apparent here. This is the Euro ensemble, so it's not quite as, it's more smooth. It's not quite as aggressive with some of it. But yeah, cold air damming definitely in place here. And then notice this, guys. This is one of the easiest ways to know we've trended north. There are areas in Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, as well as like Florida, that get into the 60s on a day like this, with in the same state, teens in the northern parts. So we're trending this warmer, and we're trending it further north. It's not like even subtle. Here we go. Let's not get too caught up here. So yeah, freezing rain, falling in some of these areas, snow in others. Let's move this out to Sunday morning. Here's a very aggressive look for cold air damming. You can see the freezing line here. It almost looks like way out of place, because it is. This entire thing I'm drawing here is essentially out of place, and it's not normally there. But we have a high. It's somewhere up here at this time. And as far as I know, oh yeah, if it's like over here, then yeah, it's going to be sending this cooler air, because high pressures rotate clockwise here. So, and then it feeds cooler air down just like that. So we have a really cold high pressure, and we're getting cold air damming. It looks very aggressive here. Although notice this warm nose is getting up along areas of the southern Appalachians. And watch, it gets worse. This is 7 a.m. Sunday. That frame right there is horrendous to me. As a winter weather fan, I hate this in every aspect. So we have a warm nose all the way up into southern West Virginia here. And then cold air damming trying to hang on for dear life, but it's getting eroded. Areas like at my house, I mean, it's below 40, but we were looking at below 20 for the entire day. Not anymore. Not with the latest runs. We could trend this right away, and that's why this is not a forecast. It's not final. And I mean, to be completely honest with you, like I said earlier, I don't want a crippling ice storm, and we were looking at it. We just bought a few extra gas cans that we can fill up in case we get closer and we want some more, because currently we have enough gas to run our generator about 30 hours and 35 hours or so, which according to the runs that we've been seeing would not be enough, because we'd lose power and probably be out for a few days. So we bought, I don't know, it's probably 20 gallons worth of tanks, and that we can fill up in the event of an emergency. So regardless of that, this is not just gone, guys. It is not completely shifted away, but Wednesday, today, is a pivotal day. It's important to figure out what we're going to end up doing with this thing, because it's hard to tell. So that's our temperatures, that's our temperature profiles, and then we're going to look, I say briefly, just kind of go into it a little bit about why this event has shifted like this. So this is also the Euro ensemble, and this is surface pressure anomaly. So these reds, the color scale is maxed out in this entire region here. So we have, I mean, a very, very strong 1052 Arctic high over the US-Canada border up here. And don't worry about this low over here. That's not as much of a thing. This is getting into Friday morning. 60 hours away, guys. Very close. Move this into Saturday morning. So it's a little weaker, 1047 over areas of the Midwest and northern plains. And then, I mean, it's very expansive and very large. But notice, what I really want you to see how it starts to moderate down here? It's because there's a low pressure starting to form down here. The low will actually track on this model run. It's right here in central Alabama. It's too close to get all of this freezing rain out. We end up getting a warm nose because of it. That might be some people's saving grace for this. It really will. There's a chance it will. So let's look at that. Let's compare this frame right here, and we're going to look at this. This is our height anomaly in the mid-levels, 500 millibars. So go back here a few. You see this? This is our cold air source up here in these blues. This is below average pressures and below average temperatures in areas of the northern tier of the country, as well as Canada. You see this little bit of a ridge down here. This is not warm at the surface necessarily. This is warm in the mid-levels, which is why we get freezing rain to fall. This is Friday morning, and we see this eyesore of a low down here called a Baja low over areas of California, the Baja regions of Mexico and California and the US. Who cares? It's all down here. You can see it. And ultimately, whether this this feature, moves throughout this event doesn't really matter. There's enough moisture. But here's why it matters, in a sense. We move this on in time. And what do we end up getting? Right about Saturday afternoon and the early morning hours on Sunday, it phases together. Right here. Compare this. You're not going to see anything major, but I'm going to circle the area. Now, it's going to look really trippy. Never mind, I just did something stupid. Let's, here we go. It's going to move. I'll put it back up there. So, where's it at? So, it was right about like that. Maybe a little bit more like that. Here we go. So, that's our upper low, and it's very expansive. Notice how we're starting to get these values down here. So, this is a process. This is an atmospheric process called Lee cyclogenesis. So, if you didn't already know, then I would recommend you learn. These are the Rocky Mountains. And the Sierra Nevada mountains. There's a lot of different mountains in here, but if we have a low in the upper levels, right, and it tracks like this, then what we end up getting is the air screams over the Rocky Mountains, very high elevations in here, scream over the Rocky Mountains, and then I'll circle an area. Anywhere in here, we get cyclogenesis to begin to happen. So cyclogenesis is the genesis, the beginning of a surface cyclone, the surface pattern, and ultimately we get it to form pretty far south, and then it starts tracking, for example, like this. So it forms in the farther south areas and then tracks across the region like that. So we're going to have this low nonetheless. However, if this Baja low, this like additional energy did not phase, our surface response would not be as strong, and we could be looking at a different scenario. So that right there should tell you that this is not so simple as just freezing rain or snow, which one are we going to get? This matters a lot and what happens in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So ultimately, this has shifted north because this high pressure, let's take this back a little bit, Saturday afternoon. So this high up here in areas of the Midwest has downtrended. It was in like the 1050s. It's in the 1040s now. So it's not quite as strong. Originally, a lot of people, including myself, were looking at this and thinking that, oh, there's no way that, this high is too strong. There's no way that this shifts north too aggressively. If this weakens enough, it won't be a feature anymore. So here you can very much see why we're getting cold air damming. This high is doing like this, feeding Arctic air down up against the Appalachian Mountains. And it's also pulling air from the Gulf. Very complicated processes, guys. I know those arrows are not even really good. Doesn't matter. So we're trending this event away, and it's not just the model guidance's fault. There's reasons for this. So as far as I know, I'll switch this back to this frame and move it to like some sort of favorable time frame. I don't know what's going on here. Let's just reload this. So as far as I'm aware, the same planes that we fly into hurricanes, the Hurricane Hunter planes, possibly will be flying into the atmosphere today, or maybe they are right now. I don't know where exactly, but they're going to be flying across a lot of areas, just over the southern tier of the country, and sampling the atmosphere. The reason for that is because this kind of model guidance shifting isn't okay in a sense. We need more definitive answers as we get closer. This is 100-ish hours, 120 hours away. So we need more definitive answers here. I'm sure you guys do who are watching, and I wish I could give them to you. But these last two model runs, one or two model runs from all of our models, have completely shattered the confidence that I had in where this event was. I was really just thinking, it's more set in stone that we in the Carolinas here in this circle I just drew, we're getting freezing rain, so we need to prepare for it. Again, there's this part of me, guys, I'm going to be honest, there's this part of me that wants something to happen because I want something that I can pay attention to. I want something to track because the weather's been boring. So seeing a model run like this, for example, where, let's see if we can get it in motion. That's why. Where, for example, we switched to rain at the end, and we're generally on the southern areas of the freezing rain. Not only blows my mind, but it's a real bummer because we have days to trend this away, and I know it. So these frames are going to have to reload themselves. I'm not going to wait on them. I'm just going to leave it on this. So ultimately, that's all I got. The reason I brought up the hurricane hunters is because they're going to insert that data into our models. I don't know how they do that, but they can plug in these observations into the code and the algorithms for these models, and it will change things. Those will primarily be available, I believe, for the 12Z runs, which we do not have yet. They have not run yet. So I highly recommend you tune in later. I don't know when this video is going to be made because I've got to go to youth group, and so I might make it. Please, in fact, if you're still here, let me know below when you'd like to get this video out, because I can do two different things. I can do a video where it gets posted before 5, right near 5 o'clock, or I can do a video where it's posted like near 9 o'clock. That's my two options. So I'm gonna pick one. If you have a thought, drop it in the comments. But our 12Z model runs could look different entirely because they're getting more observed data, more observations from the atmosphere, and that's what these models run on. So that's all I got for you. Thank you for watching, and we're going to do this again in a matter of hours, so please tune into that and share this with friends and family, get this information out there, and I will see you guys in the next one.